So, Jake, how long were you in business before you started to franchise the concept?
We were in business for, let's see, it was about 5 years before we started franchising it.
And I always say that franchise found you, right? That's what usually happens. We don't
Yeah.
usually set out initially
Yeah.
to franchise where we start a business and all of a sudden it's like, I think franchising is the way to go. What led you to franchise the company?
So, I had my own business doing small business consulting where I was coaching healthcare related small businesses. And that's when that issue with my mother was happening. And I decided to launch my own company called Talem. But the plan was for me to launch Talem, just do it kind of locally there, and offer the service we have, and then go back to doing small business consulting. And it wasn't for a couple of years when a friend of mine suggested, hey, why don't you kind of marry both your passions and what you're really good at, which is helping small business owners accomplish their goals in the senior care space, as well as the non-medical home care and placement services. So it was kind of a suggestion of kind of merging the two passions and kind of what I've done my whole career into one. So we did some research, and I went back to school to Georgetown University to get a franchise management certification, and then went on and got my CFE certification through my certified franchise executive certification through the International Franchise Association. And we launched as a franchise kind of all at the same time.
And how did Talem get its name?
We had a different name to begin with, but when went to launch and we went through the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, we realized we couldn't use the name. And oddly enough, the name was here in Milwaukee. And I even met them. And so we wanted a name that had a meaning behind it. And we had our own mission statement and our own tagline of empowering people to experience the full joy of living. And the name Talem is Latin, and it means to empower, lead, and achieve loosely. I've also been told, I believe it's Hebrew, Jewish word as well for the same thing. And the empower, lead, and achieve, they're in our mission statement. So it's kind of built upon empowering people and leading them through the complicated healthcare system so they can achieve their goals of being healthy and independent at home.
That is so great. And the industry is exploding, right? I mean, you're part of something that's very, very special right now in the industry. And able
Trying
to,
to be.
yeah, you're empowering people, and there's going to be how many millions of seniors that are going to need your services?
Once the baby boomers reach full capacity, I think they're estimating 70 to 80 million seniors.
Holy cow.
Um,
And you have 7 franchises, is that right? Is that right?
yes, sir.
And how many
Yeah.
states?
And so we're in 4 states currently, and hopefully in about 2 months, 2 weeks, I mean, we'll be signing paperwork to do another state, Texas. We're moving into Houston area.
You have a long way to go, my friend. You are definitely going to rise way above those single digits and on your way to 100 plus.
Well, I don't know if we want to, honestly. That's not necessarily our goal and our strategy. Um, we want to have 100, 200 territories sold, but we really are trying to focus on finding the right franchise owners and franchise partners, really, in hopes that they will have so much success in their first territory. We want them to have territory 2, territory 3. So our main goal is to have 50, 60 franchise owners and have each of them grow to 2 or 3 territories.
I love that. I love that you're not focused on the quantity, but more so on the quality.
Yeah,
And so many franchisors don't think that way early on. It's really about how
right.
fast and you crash and burn when you try to grow as fast as possible. Not to mention,
Yeah,
we don't want to compromise the quality of the person that's coming into the system. So considering that you only have 7 franchise locations sold since 2017, and you're very, very
yeah.
selective, tell me what does make you different? What are some of the traits that Jake, that you look for in a franchisee that it sounds like maybe other franchisors are willing to overlook?
Um, some of the things that makes us different is our territory size and the training we provide. And there's a long list of things that makes us different from the standpoint. But what we're looking for is franchise owners, first of all, with a heart and passion for this. I think a lot of people will look at this industry and say it's a fast growing industry. You can make a lot of money in this industry. There's articles galore that talks about this industry and how profitable it can be. And that can be very attractive to people. But I think a lot of people will buy a franchise in this industry and see the heart side of it. And it's difficult to see elderly age. It's difficult to deal with death and dying sometimes. And that can take a toll. And there's just challenges, there's challenges in the industry that can take a toll. And so if your heart, your passion's not dedicated to serving others, that's kind of what we look for. We also look for franchise owners that want to be actively involved in the community and does not want to sit behind a desk. You can't sit behind a desk to grow this business. And so somebody who's comfortable doing marketing and sales and getting out and involved in the community is something that, oddly enough, is hard to find. A lot of business owners think that they can just buy a business and do Google marketing and advertising and poof, it's going to happen.
Right.
And although I wish that would be the case, it would make my life easier if that was the case. It's not easier. So you have to have a heart and passion what you're doing and comfortable doing some sales and marketing.
Well, the advantage that you have over other franchisors is that you get to have a real close relationship with your franchisees and better understand their
Absolutely.
needs. First of all, how did you even find your first franchisees? I love hearing that everybody finds theirs in different places. How did you find yours?
Yeah, the first couple of them, they're both based out of Colorado. One of them, the first one, was just through some introduction through a franchise broker, and he was literally days away or weeks away from purchasing another brand, and he just kind of took the call on a whim. And once he saw our mission and our passion and how we operate and do things, he calls it divine intervention. He thought God just said, you were meant to meet for a reason. So he purchased in Colorado Springs, and he's a retired Air Force colonel, knows nothing about senior care at all, but he dove right in, and he's been just an amazing franchise partner to have. And then our other one kind of happened the same way I found my partners. It was a friend of mine from college that we were always kind of close with. I've actually introduced him to his wife. I'm responsible for him getting married a little bit, and he saw the success I was having and thought, hey, how do I get involved in that? And so he's taken more of an absentee owner, so he still has his full-time job, and it's not the ideal situation. I think he'd be the first to tell you that was a really difficult route to take. He even lives in a different state than his office, and I don't recommend that at all. But he's had a lot of success so far also, because we were able to find him good help and the right people to run it.
As a franchisor, what do you think it takes to building that solid foundation in those first, half dozen or so franchisees?
I think just like any business owner, if you're going to start a business, it's going to take a lot of hard work. You can't put in just 40 hours. I hate to say it, but any business owner will tell you, I work way more than 40 hours. But I think it's important, and it's part of our core values as having that family work-life balance. And so it's important you have that time to have that family work-life balance. And that's where a lot of the technology we have will help with that. But, you just got to be willing to put in the effort and not be afraid to dive into the areas that you are not comfortable in. I think a lot of people tend to gravitate to the areas they're comfortable in, and that's what they focus on. But they're only going to be successful if they tackle the uncomfortable things, in my opinion, because the comfortable things will be easy. These things that aren't easy will become easy once you tackle it.
We often, right, we've heard before that the level of success that we achieve is based on the willingness of how much we're willing to get out of our comfort zone, right?
Yep, absolutely. And that means following the playbook and following the formulas that we, the strategies we have for success. And, and it's also centered around communication and constant feedback. That's another reason why we want to stay small, is we don't want to be an out of touch franchisor that does not understand how things operate with boots on the ground. We really want to be hands-on in our training and support. And so we're extremely active. Me and my team are extremely active in the lives of our franchisees and how we help.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.